The pounding on his door at midnight wasn't what terrified him, it was the words that followed. "Open up, Marcus. You're fired." His boss's voice, usually controlled and professional, now trembled with something he couldn't identify. Standing there in his worn pajamas, his sleeping 5-year-old daughter just down the hall, Marcus Reynolds realized he'd misread every signal for months. But what happened next would change everything. Hey everyone, if you're enjoying this story so far, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more emotional journeys like this one. Your support means everything, and I promise the ending of this story will be worth every second. Marcus had always prided himself on being perceptive. Before his wife's death 3 years ago, she'd often joked that he could read people better than books. But grief had a way of clouding judgment, of making you see only what you needed to survive each day. And survival, for Marcus, meant keeping his head down at Reynolds' marketing agency, ironically named, though no relation, and making sure Lily had everything she needed. The agency had been his salvation after Sarah died. His boss, Victoria Chen, had hired him despite the obvious red flags, a single dad with unpredictable childcare issues and the hollow-eyed look of someone barely functioning. "I see potential," she'd said during his interview, her dark eyes assessing him with an intensity that made him uncomfortable. "Don't make me regret this." For 3 years, he hadn't. Marcus threw himself into his work, creating campaigns that brought in major clients. He arrived early, stayed late when his mother could watch Lily, and produced work that even the agency's harshest critics praised. Victoria had been pleased, at first. 6 months ago, things began to shift. Victoria started appearing at his desk more frequently, asking about his weekend plans, suggesting lunch meetings that somehow turned personal. "You should get out more," she'd say, twirling her pen between manicured fingers. "Lily needs to see her father happy." Marcus would nod, mumble something about, maybe someday, and change the subject back to work. He wasn't ready. Might never be ready. Sarah's absence still felt like a physical wound, one he protected by keeping everyone at a professional distance. The hints grew less subtle. Victoria began scheduling him for client dinners that ran late, sending him texts on weekends about non-urgent matters, finding reasons to touch his shoulder or arm during conversations. Once, she'd even suggested they take a business trip together, just the two of them, to court a potential client in Chicago. "I can't leave Lily," he'd said firmly, watching something flash across Victoria's face. Disappointment? Anger? He couldn't tell. "Your mother could watch her," Victoria had countered. "It's just 3 days, Marcus. Your career needs this." He'd refused, and the temperature in the office dropped 10 degrees. Projects he'd been leading were reassigned. His ideas in meetings were suddenly scrutinized or dismissed. His performance review, previously stellar, came back with unexpected criticisms about his team player abilities and commitment to growth. Still, Marcus convinced himself it was temporary. Victoria was a professional. Whatever personal interest she might have had would fade, and things would return to normal. He needed this job too badly to rock the boat. Then came the Henderson account. A major sportswear company looking to rebrand, with a budget that could keep the agency thriving for years. Victoria assigned it to Marcus's team but gave final presentation duties to Alicia, a talented but less experienced colleague. When Marcus questioned the decision, Victoria's response was clipped. "Alicia projects the energy and availability this client needs. You seem distracted lately." The implication stung, but he swallowed his pride and worked tirelessly on the campaign strategy, determined to prove his worth. The night before the presentation, he stayed late, refining details while Alicia practiced her delivery in the conference room. "You should go home to Lily," she'd said around 9 p.m., looking concerned. "I've got this." Just a few more tweaks, he'd promised. This account matters too much. By 10:30, the office was empty except for him. He was making final adjustments to the slide deck when Victoria appeared in his doorway, still dressed in the sharp blazer and skirt she'd worn all day. "Working late?" she asked, leaning against the doorframe. "Just finishing up," he'd replied, not looking up from his screen. She'd moved closer, perching on the edge of his desk. "You know what your problem is, Marcus? You don't see what's right in front of you." He'd finally looked up then, meeting her gaze. "The Henderson presentation needs to be perfect." "I'm not talking about Henderson." Her voice had softened. "I'm talking about us." The moment stretched between them, taut with unspoken tension. Marcus had felt trapped, cornered by the very person who controlled his livelihood. "Victoria," he'd started carefully, "I value my position here, and I respect you as my boss. But I'm not in a place for anything beyond that." Her expression had hardened instantly. "I see. Well, don't let me keep you from your work." She'd stood, straightening her blazer with deliberate movements. "Though I wonder if your dedication to this job is as strong as you claim." "What does that mean?" he'd asked, alarm rising. "It means the Henderson presentation is at 9 a.m. Don't be late." With that, she'd walked out, her heels clicking a sharp rhythm down the hallway. Marcus had stayed another hour, anxiety gnawing at him, before finally heading home. His mother had been dozing on his couch, the television murmuring quietly. He'd thanked her, seen her out, checked on Lily, sleeping peacefully, clutching the stuffed elephant that had been Sarah's last gift to her, and finally collapsed into bed around midnight. That's when the knocking had started. Now, standing at his door in the darkness, Marcus felt a surge of anger replacing his initial shock. Whatever Victoria's problem was, this crossed every professional boundary. He yanked the door open, prepared to tell her exactly that. But the woman on his doorstep wasn't what he expected. Victoria's normally immaculate appearance was disheveled. Her hair fell loose around her shoulders, her eyes were red-rimmed, and she clutched a manila folder to her chest like a shield. "You're fired," she repeated, but the words lacked conviction. "Victoria, it's midnight. My daughter is asleep. Whatever this is about." "They're selling the agency," she interrupted, her voice breaking. "Corporate takeover. I just got the call. They're keeping me on as a figurehead, but they're gutting the creative team. Starting with you." Marcus stared at her, processing her words. "What? When did this happen?" "The deal's been in the works for months. I fought it. I tried to protect my people." She laughed bitterly. "My people? That's a joke. They were never mine, were they? Just assets on a balance sheet." Marcus glanced down the hallway toward Lily's room, then back at Victoria. Despite everything, he couldn't leave her standing there, clearly distraught. "Come in," he said reluctantly. "But keep your voice down." In his small living room, Victoria seemed out of place among the mismatched furniture and framed drawings by Lily. She remained standing, too agitated to sit. "I didn't want this," she said, thrusting the folder at him. "Severance details. 2 months' pay. Recommendation letter. The works." Marcus took the folder but didn't open it. "Why come here now? Why not wait until morning?" Victoria ran a hand through her hair, a gesture so uncharacteristically vulnerable that it caught him off guard. "Because by morning, security will be escorting you out. Because I've been a coward for months, hiding behind corporate speak instead of telling you the truth. Because," she stopped, looking around the room until her gaze landed on a photo of Marcus, Lily, and Sarah, taken before the cancer diagnosis. "Because I thought I could save you." "Save me?" Marcus repeated, confusion mounting. "From the cuts. I knew they were coming. I tried to position you as indispensable. The late meetings, the client dinners, I was giving you opportunities to shine in front of the executives. To make yourself too valuable to let go." Marcus felt the ground shift beneath him. The Chicago trip? Major investor. Would have been your chance to impress the people who really make decisions. She sank onto his couch, suddenly looking exhausted. But you kept pulling back. And I kept pushing, thinking I was helping you. And the personal interest? The touches, the comments about getting out more? Victoria looked genuinely surprised. What? No. God, Marcus, I wasn't. Understanding dawned on her face, followed by horror. You thought I was making advances? That I was punishing you for rejecting me? The silence that followed was deafening. Marcus felt heat rising to his face as he realized his catastrophic misreading of the situation. I'm your boss, Victoria said finally, her voice quiet but firm. I would never abuse that position. Never. Then why are you here now? Why not let security do their job tomorrow? Victoria looked down at her hands. Because you deserve to hear it from me. Because I failed you as a leader. And because, she hesitated. Because I need your help. My help? Marcus couldn't keep the incredulity from his voice. You just fired me. The Henderson account, she said. It's our last chance. If we nail that presentation tomorrow, if we bring them on board, I might have leverage to save some positions. Including yours. Marcus stared at her. You're serious. Deadly. She stood up, some of her usual authority returning. I can't promise anything. But I'm not going down without a fight, and neither should you. In the silence that followed, Marcus heard the soft padding of feet in the hallway. Lily appeared in the doorway, rubbing her eyes, her elephant clutched in one arm. Daddy? Who's talking? Marcus moved quickly to her side, kneeling down. Hey, sweetheart. This is just Ms. Chen from Daddy's work. She needed to talk about something important. Lily regarded Victoria with sleepy curiosity. Is it an emergency? Mommy said people only come at night for emergencies. Victoria's expression softened as she looked at the child. Something like that, she said gently. I'm sorry I woke you up. It's okay, Lily said with the easy forgiveness of childhood. Daddy helps with emergencies. He's good at fixing things. Marcus felt something catch in his throat as he looked at his daughter, so trusting, so certain of his abilities. Then he looked at Victoria, seeing her clearly perhaps for the first time, not a romantic threat or a callous boss, but a woman fighting her own battles, carrying burdens he hadn't bothered to notice. Lily, honey, let's get you back to bed, he said, scooping her up. I'll be right back, he told Victoria. When he returned to the living room after tucking Lily in, Victoria was standing by the window, looking out at the quiet street. She's beautiful, Victoria said without turning around. You've done well with her. I'm trying, Marcus replied. He took a deep breath. So, the Henderson presentation. What's the plan? Victoria turned to face him, surprise evident in her expression. You'll help? Even after I barged in here at midnight to fire you? Marcus found himself smiling despite everything. Well, when you put it that way, how could I refuse? His expression grew more serious. But I need to know everything. No more signals I might misread. No more hidden agendas. Just the truth. Victoria nodded, a hint of respect in her eyes. Deal. And Marcus? I'm sorry. For all of it. Let's just focus on saving our jobs, he replied. Starting with yours. They worked through the night at Marcus's kitchen table, revamping the presentation, identifying weaknesses, strengthening the strategy. As dawn broke, they had something that wasn't just good, it was revolutionary. We need to get Alicia up to speed, Marcus said, rubbing his tired eyes. Victoria shook her head. No. You're presenting this. But you said. I know what I said. I was wrong. This is your vision, Marcus. You should be the one to sell it. 4 hours later, Marcus stood before the Henderson executives, Victoria and Alicia flanking him. He felt strangely calm, perhaps because after the night's revelations, a mere presentation seemed manageable by comparison. "Gentlemen, ladies," he began, "what you're about to see isn't just a rebrand. It's a reconnection, with your core customers, with the athletes who inspire them, and with the values that built Henderson from the ground up." The presentation flowed from him naturally, passionately. He spoke about authenticity in a world of artificial perfection, about the power of showing struggle alongside triumph. He wove in stories, some from research, some personal, about what made people connect with brands on a human level. When he finished, the room was silent for a moment. Then the Henderson CEO stood up. "That," he said slowly, "was exactly what we've been looking for. Not just a new look, but a new understanding of who we are." He turned to Victoria. "Ms. Chen, your team has exceeded our expectations. We'd like to move forward immediately." The celebration afterward was subdued by the reality they still faced. In Victoria's office, the three of them, Marcus, Victoria, and Alicia, sat with the uncertain weight of the future between them. "I'm calling an emergency meeting with the new owners," Victoria said. "The Henderson deal changes things." "It has to." "And if it doesn't?" Alicia asked quietly. Victoria looked at Marcus, something unspoken passing between them. "Then we have decisions to make." 3 days later, Marcus sat across from Victoria in a coffee shop several blocks from the agency. Neutral territory. "So," he said, wrapping his hands around his mug. "What's the verdict?" Victoria took a deep breath. "They're still cutting the creative team. But not all of it." She met his eyes directly. "You and Alicia are safe. For now." Marcus felt relief wash over him, followed immediately by suspicion. "At what cost?" "My resignation," Victoria said simply. "Effective in 3 months, once the transition is complete." "What?" "No. That's not acceptable." Victoria smiled slightly. "It wasn't a negotiation, Marcus. It was my choice." "But why?" "After everything you did to try to save the agency." "Because sometimes leadership means knowing when to step aside," she interrupted. "And because I've been offered something better." She slid a business card across the table. Henderson was impressed. "Not just with the campaign, but with how we work together. They want to build an in-house creative team. They want us to lead it." Marcus stared at the card. "Us?" "You, me, Alicia. A few others I trust. Better pay, better hours." She paused meaningfully. "Family-friendly policies." "You planned this," Marcus realized. The Henderson presentation wasn't just about saving jobs at the agency. It was an audition. Victoria shrugged, a hint of her old confidence returning. "I like to have contingency plans. And I protect my people." She leaned forward. "Real question is, are you in?" Marcus thought about the past 3 years, the grief, the struggle, the misunderstandings. He thought about Lily, about the photo of Sarah on his mantle, about moving forward without forgetting. He thought about second chances, not just in careers but in trust. "On one condition," he said finally. "No more midnight visits. If you need to fire me again, do it during business hours." Victoria laughed, the sound genuine and unguarded. "Deal." 6 months later, Marcus stood in the new Henderson creative offices, watching Lily charm everyone during the Bring Your Child to Work day Victoria had instituted. His desk featured not just Sarah's photo now, but new ones, Lily at her school play, the creative team at their launch party, even one of him and Victoria at a client dinner, both laughing at something off camera. Victoria appeared beside him, following his gaze to the photos. "Penny for your thoughts?" "Just thinking about signals," he replied. How easy they are to misread when you're not looking properly. And now? She asked. Marcus smiled. Now I'm paying attention. That night, as he tucked Lily into bed, she asked the question she'd been saving all day. Daddy, are you happy at your new job? Marcus considered the question with the seriousness it deserved. Yes, he said finally. I am. Is it because of Ms. Victoria? She smiles at you a lot. Marcus chuckled. Ms. Victoria is my boss, sweetie. And my friend. Lily nodded sagely. Mommy said friends are important. She said you'd need them after she went to heaven. Marcus felt the familiar ache, but it was gentler now, tempered by time and healing. Your mom was very wise. I think she'd like Ms. Victoria, Lily declared, snuggling deeper under her covers. She helps you fix emergencies. As Marcus turned out the write an engaging story based on the title, a single dad ignored his boss's signals, until she knocked at midnight and said, "You're fired." Begin the story with hook who joins the viewers at the end. Immediately capture attention, also motive viewers to like video and subscribe the channel. Develop the plot with emotional depth and relatable characters, including key challenges and their resolutions. Ensure the story maintains a smooth pace suitable for an 400-minute YouTube video, leaving a strong, inspiring message by the end. Plain paragraphs but long story as you can based on 25,000 word estimate. Ask follow-up. Lighten closed Lily's door, he found himself reflecting on his daughter's words. Sarah would have liked Victoria, her directness, her fierce loyalty, her unwillingness to accept defeat. They were similar in that way, though he'd never noticed it before. The next morning brought chaos as usual, spilled cereal, a missing shoe, and Lily's insistence that her hair needed to be exactly like Emma's at school, a style Marcus had never mastered. They were running late when his phone buzzed with a text from Victoria. Client meeting moved up. Can cover for you until 9:30. Take your time. It was a small thing, but it represented everything that had changed. 6 months ago, he would have panicked, called his mother, and rushed Lily through her morning routine. Now, he took a breath, helped his daughter find the perfect hair clip, and made sure she ate a proper breakfast. At the office, the Henderson creative team operated differently than any place Marcus had worked before. Victoria had insisted on flexible schedules, collaborative spaces, and a culture that recognized employees as whole people with lives outside work. The results spoke for themselves: 3 successful campaigns launched, client satisfaction at record highs, and a waiting list of talent wanting to join their team. "You're late," Victoria noted when he finally arrived, but there was no reproach in her tone. "Hair emergency," Marcus explained, setting down his laptop. "Thanks for covering." "No problem." The Westridge people are impressed with the initial concepts. They want to see more of the community engagement angle. They fell into work easily, the rhythm between them now comfortable and efficient. Around noon, Alicia poked her head into the conference room where they were refining strategy. "Sorry to interrupt, but there's someone here to see Marcus." He looked up, surprised. "Who?" "Says her name is Sarah's mother." "Ellen?" Marcus felt a jolt of alarm. His former mother-in-law rarely visited, the pain of seeing Lily, so like her daughter, sometimes too much to bear. For her to show up at his workplace meant something was wrong. "I'll be right back," he told Victoria, already heading for the door. Ellen Reynolds stood awkwardly in the reception area, clutching her purse with both hands. At 65, she remained elegant, her silver hair swept into a neat bun, her posture perfect. But her eyes, so like Sarah's, held worry. "Ellen," Marcus greeted her, giving her a quick hug. "Is everything okay? Is it Lily?" "Lily's fine," she assured him quickly. "It's about the house." The house, Sarah's childhood home, where Ellen still lived alone since her husband's death a year before Sarah's. Marcus felt a prickle of unease. "What about it?" "I'm selling it," Ellen said, her voice steady despite the emotion Marcus could see she was holding back. Moving to Arizona to be near my sister. The winters here are getting too hard. Oh. Marcus wasn't sure what to say. The house represented his last tangible connection to Sarah's past, a place where Lily could visit and feel close to the mother she barely remembered. When? That's why I came. The realtor wants to list it next week, but I wanted to ask if you and Lily would like anything from it first. Sarah's things, her childhood mementos. Marcus nodded, throat tight. Of course. We'll come this weekend? Perfect. Ellen hesitated, then added, there's something else. Sarah's letters. Marcus frowned. Letters? She wrote them during her treatment. For Lily. For milestones she knew she might miss. Ellen's composure wavered slightly. I found them when I was packing. She must have hidden them in her old bedroom during one of your visits. There's one for you too. The world seemed to tilt slightly. A letter from Sarah, written during those final painful months, undiscovered until now. Marcus steadied himself against the reception desk. Thank you for telling me, he managed. We'll definitely come Saturday. After Ellen left, Marcus returned to the conference room in a daze. Victoria took one look at his face and dismissed the team, closing the door behind them. What happened? She asked simply. The story spilled out of him, Ellen's move, the house, the letters. Victoria listened without interrupting, her expression thoughtful. Take the rest of the day, she said when he finished. Go pick up Lily early from school. Do something special together. The Westridge presentation. Can wait, she finished firmly. Some things are more important. That afternoon, Marcus and Lily went to the park, got ice cream, and sat on a bench watching ducks on the pond. He didn't mention the letters or the house, not yet. Instead, he asked her about school, listened to her elaborate stories about playground politics, and took mental photographs of her laughing face to store away. That night, after Lily was asleep, he sat on his back porch with a glass of wine, staring at his phone. Before he could overthink it, he dialed Victoria's number. Is this a work call? She answered, a smile in her voice. Because I distinctly remember telling you to take the day off. Not work, he confirmed. I just wanted to say thank you. For today. You don't need to thank me for basic human decency, Marcus. Maybe not. But I'm still grateful. He paused, gathering his thoughts. The thing is, I'm not sure how to handle this. The letters, I mean. What if Sarah wrote something that changes everything? What if she had expectations for Lily, for me, that I haven't been meeting? Victoria was quiet for a moment. Do you think Sarah would set traps for you from beyond the grave? The question startled a laugh from him. No. That wasn't her style. Then trust her. And trust yourself. Whatever she wrote from love. The simplicity of it calmed him. When did you get so wise about relationships? I've always been wise, Victoria replied lightly. You just weren't paying attention. Saturday arrived with a crisp autumn chill. Marcus and Lily drove to Ellen's house, the familiar route bringing back memories of happier visits, holidays, Sunday dinners, the day he'd asked Sarah's father for permission to propose. Ellen welcomed them with hugs and cookies, her eyes brightening at the sight of her granddaughter. While Lily explored the house she'd visited but never really remembered living in, Ellen led Marcus to Sarah's old bedroom. I haven't changed much, she admitted. Couldn't bring myself to. The room was frozen in time, part teenage sanctuary with band posters and stuffed animals, part shrine with framed photos of Sarah as an adult, at their wedding, holding newborn Lily. On the bed lay a small wooden box. The letters, Ellen said softly. I didn't read them. They're sealed. Marcus nodded, unable to speak. Ellen squeezed his arm gently and left him alone with the box. Inside were a dozen envelopes, each labeled in Sarah's flowing handwriting: Lily's first day of school, Lily's first heartbreak, Lily's graduation, Lily's wedding day. And at the bottom, one simply marked, "For Marcus, open when you're ready." His hands trembled as he lifted it. Was he ready? Would he ever be? The sound of Lily's laughter drifted up from downstairs, and something in it gave him courage. He broke the seal and unfolded the pages. "My dearest Marcus," Sarah had written, her handwriting strong and clear, no hint of the weakness that had claimed her body by the end. "If you're reading this, then I'm gone, and you've been carrying our family forward alone. First, I need you to know how proud I am of you. How certain I am that you've been the father Lily needs. You always doubted your parenting abilities, but I never did. I'm writing this letter for one purpose: to release you. From guilt, from obligation to my memory, from any promise you might have made to never love again. Life is for the living, Marcus. And you, my love, need to live. I chose you as my partner because you love completely, protect fiercely, and feel deeply. Those qualities didn't die with me. Don't bury them. Lily will need to see you happy. Truly happy, not just putting on a brave face for her benefit. Children know the difference. Show her that love can heal as well as hurt. Show her that moving forward doesn't mean forgetting what's behind. I don't know when you'll find this letter. Maybe Lily is still small. Maybe she's grown. Maybe you've already found someone new to share your life with, and these words are unnecessary. I hope so. But if not, if you've been holding yourself apart, keeping your heart locked away, then consider this my final gift to you: permission to be happy again. All my love, always, Sarah. Marcus read the letter 3 times, tears streaming down his face. Then he carefully folded it, placed it back in its envelope, and went downstairs to find his daughter. The weekend passed in a blur of memories and decisions. Ellen insisted they take anything that might help Lily connect with her mother: photo albums, Sarah's childhood books, the quilt Sarah's grandmother had made. By Sunday evening, Marcus's car was packed with treasures from the past, and his heart felt strangely lighter. Monday morning, he arrived at work early, a box of pastries in hand. Victoria was already there, reviewing client feedback at her desk. "Brought breakfast," he announced, setting the box down. "And a proposition." Victoria raised an eyebrow. "Before coffee?" "Brave man." "The Henderson Children's Sports Initiative," he said, sitting across from her. "I want to lead it." Victoria studied him. "That's a 6-month commitment, minimum. Lots of travel to community centers, schools. You've always avoided travel projects because of Lily." "I know. But this is different." He leaned forward. "It's important work. And I think it's time I showed Lily that doing meaningful things sometimes means taking risks, making changes." Understanding dawned in Victoria's eyes. "You went to the house. You read the letter." Marcus nodded. "Sarah gave me some good advice. She sounds like a wise woman." She was. He smiled, the word was no longer catching in his throat. "So, the project?" "It's yours," Victoria said. "On one condition." "Which is?" "You let me help with the logistics. We'll make it work with your schedule, find ways to include Lily when possible. No more either/or thinking, work versus family. We can do both." The next 3 months transformed not just the Henderson Children's Initiative, but Marcus himself. He traveled to community centers across the city, sometimes bringing Lily along to help with the younger children. He spoke to parent groups about balancing work and family. He found himself sharing stories about Sarah naturally, without the crushing weight of grief that had once accompanied her name. And through it all, Victoria was there, rearranging schedules when Lily got sick, joining them for pizza and movie nights to discuss project details, becoming not just his boss but a true friend. The night of the initiative's launch event, everything came together perfectly. Children from community programs across the city demonstrated their skills, wearing the new Henderson gear designed specifically for the program. Corporate sponsors pledged additional funding. Even Ellen flew in from Arizona to see what Marcus had helped create. Sarah would be so proud, she told him, watching Lily help a younger child with a basketball drill. Not just of this, but of you. You found your way forward. Later, as the event wound down, Marcus found Victoria standing alone, watching the cleanup crew dismantle the displays. "Successful night," he said, joining her. "Very." Henderson's thrilled. The community response exceeded expectations. "And you," she turned to face him. "You were amazing." "We were amazing," he corrected. "None of this happens without you." Victoria smiled, a hint of something vulnerable in her expression. "So what's next for Marcus Reynolds? Another big project? World domination?" Marcus laughed. "Actually, I was thinking something smaller scale. Dinner, maybe. Just the two of us." Victoria went very still. "Marcus. Not as colleagues," he clarified. "Not as friends. As two people who might have something worth exploring." "What changed?" she asked quietly. Marcus thought about Sarah's letter, about the months working side by side with Victoria, about the way Lily's face lit up when Victoria entered a room. "I started paying attention to the right signals," he said simply. Their first date was nothing spectacular, dinner at a quiet restaurant, conversation that drifted easily between work and personal topics, a slightly awkward moment at her door when neither was sure how to end the evening. But it was a beginning. They took things slowly. Victoria was careful about her role in Lily's life, never overstepping, always respectful of Sarah's place in their family story. Marcus appreciated her sensitivity, even as he watched the natural bond forming between his daughter and this woman who approached everything, even relationships, with thoughtful intention. 6 months after that first date, Marcus added a new photo to his desk, Victoria and Lily at a science museum, heads bent together over an exhibit, identical expressions of concentration on their faces. It was his favorite. "You're staring at that picture again," Alicia noted, dropping a file on his desk. "It's getting weird, boss." Marcus grinned. "Just appreciating my good fortune." "Uh-huh. Well, your good fortune wants you in the conference room. Client call in 5 minutes." As he gathered his materials, Marcus's phone buzzed with a text from Ellen, found more of Sarah's things. A journal this time. "Coming to visit next weekend. She'd be happy for you, Marcus." "I am too." He felt the familiar mixture of gratitude and bittersweetness that now accompanied thoughts of Sarah. She had given him one last gift in that letter, the freedom to move forward without guilt. He would never stop loving her, never stop sharing her memory with Lily. But his heart had proven more resilient than he'd believed possible. In the conference room, Victoria was preparing for the call, her efficient movements familiar and comforting. She glanced up as he entered, her smile warming. "Ready?" she asked. Marcus thought about all the meanings of that simple question, ready for the call, ready for the future, ready to embrace happiness again. "Yes," he said. "I think I am." 1 year to the day after Victoria had knocked on his door at midnight, Marcus stood in his living room, watching her help Lily with a school project. The easy rapport between them, the gentle teasing, the shared concentration, it filled his heart in ways he couldn't have imagined during those dark, lonely years after Sarah's death. His phone buzzed with a text from Ellen, "Found the perfect spot for Sarah's memorial bench in the park near my new place. Lily will love it when you visit this summer." Marcus smiled, typing back his thanks. The past and present no longer felt at odds with each other. They had found their balance. Later that night, after Lily was asleep and Victoria had gone home, they still maintained separate residences, taking things at a pace that felt right for everyone. Marcus sat on his porch with Sarah's journal. Ellen had given it to him months ago, but he'd been saving it, waiting for the right moment. The entries spanned the early days of Sarah's illness, her hopes and fears laid bare on the pages. But it was the final entry that caught his breath. I had a dream last night. Lily was grown, beautiful and strong. Marcus was there, smiling in a way I haven't seen since my diagnosis. There was someone with him, I couldn't see her face, but I could feel her kindness, her steadiness. They were happy. My family was happy. And somehow, that was enough. More than enough. It was everything. Marcus closed the journal, tears streaming down his face, not tears of grief this time, but of wonder at Sarah's final gift, her blessing for a future she would never see. The next morning, he called Victoria. Can you come over tonight? There's something I'd like you to read. That evening, as Victoria read Sarah's final journal entry, her own eyes filled with tears. When she finished, she looked up at Marcus, her expression a mixture of awe and uncertainty. Do you think dreams can be prophetic? He asked quietly. Victoria considered the question with her usual thoughtfulness. I think sometimes our hearts know things before our minds do. And Sarah knew your heart better than anyone. Not anymore, Marcus said softly. Now there's you too. Victoria set the journal down carefully. Marcus, I would never try to replace. I know, he interrupted gently. That's one of the reasons I love you. The words, spoken for the first time, hung in the air between them. Victoria's eyes widened slightly. You don't have to say it back, Marcus added quickly. I just wanted you to know. This past year has taught me that life is too short to leave important things unsaid. Victoria moved closer, taking his hands in hers. I love you too, she said simply. You and Lily both. I have for a while now. Later, as they sat on the porch swing watching the stars emerge, Victoria asked, Do you ever wonder what would have happened if I hadn't knocked on your door that night? Marcus considered the question. I think we would have found our way here eventually. Maybe not as quickly or dramatically, but some connections are inevitable. The marketing executive in me wants to point out that's a very romantic but statistically improbable statement, Victoria replied with a smile. And the woman? Marcus asked. Victoria leaned her head against his shoulder. She hopes you're right. 2 years later, on a warm spring day, Marcus stood in the backyard of their new home, a house with enough space for all three of them, plus the golden retriever puppy Lily had finally convinced them to adopt. Friends and family gathered around tables decorated with wildflowers, celebrating not just his marriage to Victoria the previous month, but the official adoption papers that had come through that morning. Victoria was now legally Lily's mother, a step they had taken only when Lily herself had asked for it. Ellen sat at the place of honor, Sarah's photo beside her on the table. It had been her idea to include Sarah in the celebration this way, because without her, none of you would be together, she'd said simply. Across the yard, Victoria was deep in conversation with Marcus's mother, both of them laughing at something Lily had said. At 10 years old, she was growing into a remarkable young person, creative like her father, determined like Sarah, and developing Victoria's sharp analytical mind. Alicia appeared at his side, handing him a glass of champagne. Quite the family you've built, boss. Marcus smiled. Not what I expected, but exactly what I needed. Speaking of unexpected, Alicia said, have you told Victoria about the Henderson CEO's offer yet? Marcus shook his head. The offer had come yesterday, a chance to expand their creative team nationally, with Marcus as the executive director. It would mean more responsibility, more travel, but also more opportunity to make a difference. Tonight, he said. We'll figure it out together. As the evening progressed, Marcus found himself standing with Victoria at the edge of their property, watching the sunset paint the sky in brilliant oranges and pinks. Happy? she asked, slipping her arm around his waist. Beyond words, he replied honestly. You know, 5 years ago, if someone had told me I'd be here, remarried, with a growing family and a career I love, I would have said they were crazy. I couldn't see past my grief. Grief has a way of narrowing our vision, Victoria said. It's not your fault. I know that now. He turned to face her. I have something to tell you. The Henderson CEO called yesterday. As he outlined the offer, Victoria listened intently, her expression thoughtful. When he finished, she asked, "What do you want to do?" "I want to take it," he admitted. "But not at the expense of what we've built here. You, me, Lily, that comes first." Victoria smiled. "Then we make it work. We find the balance. That's what we do, remember?" Marcus pulled her close. "Have I told you lately that you're remarkable?" "Yes, but feel free to repeat it regularly," she teased. As they walked back toward their guests, Marcus felt a sense of completion he hadn't thought possible after Sarah's death. His life had taken an unexpected turn that midnight when Victoria knocked on his door, but the journey had led him here, to a family rebuilt, to love rediscovered, to a future bright with possibility. Later that night, after the guests had gone and Lily was asleep, Marcus found Victoria in their bedroom, looking at the framed letter from Sarah that he kept on his nightstand. "Do you think she knew?" Victoria asked softly. "When she wrote this, do you think she somehow knew it would be me?" Marcus joined her, wrapping his arms around her from behind. "I think she knew I would need someone extraordinary. And you, Victoria Chen, are definitely that." Victoria turned in his embrace. "We should frame that journal entry too. The one about her dream." "I'd like that," Marcus agreed. A reminder that sometimes the end of one story is just the beginning of another. As they settled into bed, Marcus thought about all the signals he'd misread in his life, Victoria's professional interest mistaken for romantic pursuit, his own readiness for love overlooked, the strength he'd possessed but hadn't recognized. Yet somehow, despite the miscommunications and wrong turns, he'd found his way here. "What are you thinking about?" Victoria murmured sleepily. "Just that I'm glad you knocked on my door that night," he replied. "Even if you did fire me." Victoria chuckled. "Best firing ever, in retrospect." "Definitely," Marcus agreed, pulling her closer. "Definitely the best." In the quiet of their new home, with his daughter sleeping peacefully down the hall and his wife nestled against him, Marcus Reynolds finally understood what Sarah had meant in her letter. Moving forward didn't mean forgetting what was behind. It meant carrying it with you, letting it shape but not define you, finding joy in the present while honoring the past. And as he drifted toward sleep, he felt a sense of peace that had once seemed impossible, the peace of a man who had learned that the heart's capacity for love is limitless, that family can be both what you're born with and what you build, and that sometimes, the most important signals are the ones that come not from others, but from within. The end. Wow, what a journey. If you enjoyed this emotional story about second chances, healing, and finding love after loss, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more heartfelt stories that explore the complexities of human relationships. Your support helps us continue creating content that touches hearts and reminds us all that even after our darkest moments, light can find its way back in. Leave a comment below sharing your thoughts or experiences with moving forward after loss. Our community is here to support each other through all of life's challenges and triumphs. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.